Watch today's episode to learn how Akhila doesn't take no for an answer and ends up raising over $150,000 for her startup. Welcome back, everybody, to Clicks and Bricks. Today I have Akhila with Cleversow. We're going to do an interview on her innovative way on how she is changing hiring for new employees. How are you doing, Akhila?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about Cleversow and what you're striving to do?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. So Cleversow, we are new. We recently released our beta product. What we are trying to introduce here is a new way of hiring process where right now it's creating a lot of chaos and redundancy. And our hiring platform, the Cleversow, is going to simplify the process for both the job candidates and also the hiring side. Hiring side could be the hiring managers, HRs, or the recruiters. So the concept that we are trying to bring in is the standardization and the judgmental view in the hiring process that's going to simplify and effectively bring in a candidate who is emotionally, technically, and skill-wise completely compatible with the team. One of the ways that we are trying to do here is standardizing the profiles of the candidate, where candidates always get lost in terms of how they want to introduce themselves and on a single page resume or 2 pages, 3 pages. And we have like too many formats of resumes, CVs, cover letters. How many profiles do we create? And still there is a lacking of understanding who the candidate is. And how do we solve it, right? And let's say if in the resume, if there is a skill or a technical term that's missing, the candidate is eliminated right in the front, like right in the first phase, without even actually reaching out to the hiring team. What we are trying to introduce here is a new way of showing who the candidate is. That's a smart profile. It's a single page personalized website for the candidate, like johnbeal.cleversow.com. What it's going to have is giving an opportunity for the candidates to answer all the basic interview questions in a video. Tell about yourself, tell about your job responsibilities, tell about your prior projects, and explain why you're looking for a new job. All these 4 questions together is a concept of telling the story, allowing the candidate, giving the power to the candidate to tell the story of why they are good for this job and how they are good at this job. Sometimes job titles does not really give a justification of what candidate is trying to do. Sometimes the role is vastly explained. Maybe you can't explain it in 2-3 terms. Sometimes your job is more creative where you want to actually present it. Just do that in the videos. You know, if you're a coder, just open your GitLab, show your work. If you're a UX designer, open your XD, show your work. It's more about giving you the confidence, giving the candidates the confidence that, yes, I am good at this job. Forget about everything else. Look at me as a person and make the decision. So bringing that humanity back into the hiring process and bringing that in the first phase itself in the hiring step is what our goal is. And this is one concept, right, where all the profiles in our platform are going to be single page, exactly the same format. Everything will be normalized with our AI technology, and all the candidates are encouraged to create these videos. This gives an opportunity for the hiring team to actually compare the candidates. They are all ranked using our resume ranker, which is again a spatial orientation algorithm, which is not absolutely not based on the keywords, but more in terms of relevance and closeness, understanding the candidate's ability, what candidate has done in the past and what they can do in the future, comparing that with a job description, not just saying, hey, candidate doesn't have Python, let's eliminate him from the selection process. So avoiding all that concept and giving the hiring team the ability to coordinate within themselves. Think about the chaos that happens in the hiring team. Hey, do you have some time to talk to this candidate? Do we have to give the technical test? I am busy today. How much chaos is there between scheduling, going through different routes of interview from the hiring team? All that is compressed and simplified into a single dashboard. So when hiring team is investing time in going through the candidates, they already have a 360-degree view of the candidate. They have the candidate taking the company compatibility test. They have the candidate's videos. That means You can skip the phone interview because you're already listening what the candidate is trying to say. Candidates can already take the assessment test for the job when the hiring team is actually posting the job. And we are also trying to have their initial background check done. So candidate is clear cut assessed, purely assessed, and have in front of the hiring team for them to actually assess. So that's how we are trying to simplify the process and make it more efficient and judgmental on the hiring team. Now, from the candidate side, apart from the smart profile, the other main feature that we have is giving them an absolutely flawless experience for the hiring. Always there is a ambiguity on the candidates. What's going to happen? I applied for so many jobs. Did I do it good? Did I miss something? Am I going to go to the next round? How long is the waiting? Should I apply for other job? These many questions, and there is no real answer for the candidates through any media, right? Even if we go to a recruiter or through any platforms that we have currently, that ambiguity of not allowing the candidate to decide what is happening or the point of where to improve will be eliminated with Cleversow. First thing, whenever the videos are being created, imagine that's a phone interview. We have a video analysis in the background that helps the candidate to improve just in a friendly way. Hey, buddy, you are being more technical. Do you want to sound that way? Or maybe you're being more diplomatic in your answers. Why don't you go in detail? Tell some technicality. You might be good. That level of feedback will be given when we do the analysis. At the same time, the candidate will know in which phase they are whenever they are applying to a job through our platform. We will let them know if their profile is being considered. If they are being considered, in what way? May not exactly say which company because there are some rules, but at least they will have a clear idea on what phase they are in and how they want to consider the different jobs that are coming in. So in a nutshell, it's going to be like what everyone expects, right? In a common sense way, how do you want a hiring process to be there? That's how the Cleversow has been built.
Right. Fantastic. So to sum it up, I think you're trying to standardize the hiring process in today's world. And I kind of think about the difference between what MySpace used to be is how we hire today, and everybody does it their own way, and it's just kind of the wild, wild west, and there's no real standards. So what you're saying is to create a standardized resume, video platform, and process that you can onboard companies and onboard potential employees to, and really standardize that entire process. So I do have a question for you, and luckily for me, I have not had to look for a job in a very long time.
Sure.
But when I did, I made resumes specifically for the job that I was applying to. Does your platform have, if you're going to be doing videos and say I'm a 5 years into my programming career, I might want a programming job, but I also might want to be maybe in some project management jobs as well, be considered for those, right? So I'm trying to up my, change my level. Do I have two different videos then in that platform? Is there a concept for, really making niche videos or niche resumes for the specific job that I'm looking for?
That's a great question. So if we think about it as a resume, there is a need for us to tweak our resume for these two types of jobs. But really think about it. If you're on a phone interview, how would you present yourself for both the jobs? You'll try to combine both the skills together and explain, right? You'll focus on project management first, and then you focus on the programming, saying that programming has helped you to become a project manager. That's the story you'll try to bring in on a phone interview. So here, the thought that I'm trying to get through to the candidate's perspective is, we will change if it's a document. We want to change if it's a document because we want to elevate that skills prior to depending upon the job description. But really, when we think about the phone interviews or when we are actually speaking to the hiring manager, we try to combine all the skills together and tell it as a story. That's the story you bring in the video profiles. So in a simple way, yes, you can customize those videos, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about it because you're giving your entire story, and the hiring team will be able to pick up what the story you're telling.
Right. And they actually might watch it because it's engaging.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Okay. I absolutely I love the concept. I like it a lot. I think it's a real shame today. So Gary Vee says this all the time, and I've kind of adopted this approach that hiring employees is a guess and terminating employees is a decision. And what you're doing is you're trying to take that guesswork out of hiring people. I really love the concept of being able to collaborate with potential employees before hiring them to really see, do you work well together? That's been my biggest issue on hiring, has been finding personality types that fit into our strange little culture that we have here at Clicks and Bricks, which is definitely more casual but corporate than most, which is a weird mix. But so I really like what you're doing. It's a shame that our society puts more emphasis on social media, web platforms, and dating websites, and they haven't taken all that technology and really put it into the hiring process, which will make for a phenomenal hiring process, right? Basically, it's a eHarmony for jobs.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
right, is what we're looking at here.
You brought in a very, very good point, right? That's what we want. We want a resilient ecosystem and within the workplace, and that can only happen when you have that humanity when you're hiring a team member, right? You need to understand what that person is and how that person is. Sometimes it's just the capability of learning is enough for you to hire. Maybe the past experience doesn't really come in play. So again, too many factors, but having all that known in the first step is what we are trying to bring in.
Right. I could talk about HR process and hiring and firing employees at length for several days. So in an effort to keep moving forward, because I do have a hard stop today, this is no small task that you're taking on, right? You're literally looking at changing the way people look at getting hired and the ways that companies look at hiring employees. And in today's environment with the workforce the way it is, there's definitely a huge need for that. But in your head, can you explain to us a little bit about, this is a big challenge that you're under, and there's a lot of hurdles that you have to overcome. And I don't want to say the word possessed, because I think there's some moment that you're like possessed to keep pushing this forward, and I don't know if that's the right word or not, but what possesses you to take on this seemingly mountain of a task?
The first thing is it's a problem that everyone speaks. Everyone speaks about it in every company. Like if we talk with our colleague, with our friends, someone looking for a job, it's a problem which is deep rooted in our society, within our lives, right? We may not really acknowledge it, but it's there. It's been there whenever, anytime. And think about the COVID times, like how many people lost their job, how many people are changing their industry, how many people realize that what they are doing is not fit for them and want to change completely their perspective. And everywhere there is a background voice that says, this could have been done better. There should have been something else. There should have been something else. Maybe that thought itself have provoked so many ATS systems, so many hiring platforms, but not yet a proper solution, right? For me, what keeps moving is that the problem that exists so deeply and the connection that could be created. Like, yes, I really wish I could say directly, I really wish I could directly speak to a hiring manager. That's what most of the candidates wants to do, right? They want to eliminate all the steps in between and say, if I could get a chance to speak with a hiring manager, maybe I'll get that job.
Right.
That simple point is what our video profile is. Tell your story. Tell your story and go ahead.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it. So is this your full-time job now?
Yes.
Are you 100% on Cleversow?
Yes.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about, so we understand you had the idea and it blossomed, you're like, okay, I'm going to make this decision, I'm going to go forward. How did you get the funds to get started? Can you give us a little bit about how you raised the money to get started? I know we talked a little bit about this, not in depth, but I think it's important for people that have an idea and they don't know how to get started. What does that look like? And I think, after, you got your LLC and the legal stuff done, but how did you get the money to eat? right?
Sure.
You have to do that.
So it's not that easy. It was a very hard process. Initially, I was doing another full-time job and managing this in the background. But the initial funding, we were able to get through our friends and family. So I had an advisor who I was working with, exchanging the ideas, creating the excitement, talking about this problem in a way that, hey, you already have this problem. Like making them relate to our problem is a first step that I would say. The core team that formed, or the pictures that I had for my friends and family, is that like making them relate to the problem is our first step. Like that's the first step that I felt that I did. Once they realize that this is really a problem that they are facing, and the solution that's being presented as this product is something that they can use in their lives, is another relating point that we could bring in. And the confidence, right? The confidence that I am willing to put anything that I have into this particular product, no matter, nothing is there, no network, no background, still I'm able to do this because I believe in it. And that confidence, if you're able to reach, I think that's the first point, that they trusted me, saying that, okay, good, you're coming, you're giving all in, I trust you. And
Right.
that's the first is that relating to the problem, and second is building that trust that you can do it no matter what, and you believe that the market has that space in. And even there is a downfall, that there is always something good coming out from that process, right? I think
Right.
bringing these 3 points within the family, right, who judge you, who sees you every day, who knows your personal life, and yet making them see you professionally is a challenge.
Right.
So I think these are the first 3 points that I went with my friends, their family. And when I pitched in, we were able to raise 150K from friends and
Nice.
family.
That's a good
And
friends and family round.
yes, friends and
Yeah.
family round, we raised
Yeah.
150K from
Awesome.
4 people. And we are really grateful for them to support us, to trust us without any actual built-in product, just a concept and an MVP and the ideology behind it. They trusted us. That led us to build our beta product. And do I know before that we will be able to use it? It was just a faith,
Yeah.
Product is great, concept is right, and everyone wants to talk about it. Just pitch in. There were a lot of fears in the background, like, would this happen? Can this happen? But just overcoming those fear and pitching, finally getting that funds was really a good way to push us forward. Yeah.
Right. So the friends and family round, and it's been a long time since I've done a friends and family round, and I think the laws have changed quite a bit. Last time I did a friends and family round, you could do 30 people, up to 30 investors inside your friends and family round before you had to go to a C corp. Is that still roughly the same number, or something changes at 30 investors?
Yeah, right now it's not a number of investors. It's more in terms of how we are actually giving the equity, or what is going on with pre-seed, right? So
Okay.
friends and family, we are calling this as a pre-seed round for us, 150K, which could lead us to the next round of funding, seed round.
Right.
And we went with the evaluation caps in terms of how the equity is being shared to them. So yeah.
Right. And without going too far into investment, because I want to keep going with what our show is about, but I think this is important for people to know. Did you do a debt equity, or did you do equity in the company?
So we did a safe investment with
Okay.
them. We had a safe contract right now. It's more in terms of, we have an evaluation cap, and that's the evaluation cap that went with the initial investment. Once we actually go to next round of funding, we'll be able to have that debt equity.
Okay. So when you're raising money, just you can be really creative to the audience, right? So you can either take on debt and then say, hey, this is a loan, I'll pay you back, either personally or the company will pay you back, or you can say, hey, you got equity in the company, so you'll get dividends as the company grows, and so things like that. And it's also common to have a predetermined second round buy-in price for that first round folks, right? They get to participate in growth with at their original buy-in point. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do creative when you're raising money to start your company. I personally, I like bootstrapping. It's fun for me to bootstrap companies. I like I definitely like venture capital as well, but my adversity to authority typically prevents me from going down that path. So we just kind of bootstrap on our own for most things. Obviously, some tasks like this, it's a huge undertaking. You have to go. I mean, you don't have to go raise money and be successful, but it definitely it fuels the fire and helps you move a lot faster, right? Money helps you move much faster than with no money. So congratulations on a friends and family round. That's fantastic. And then you get to move forward. So moving on to our standard questions. Throughout this process, I'm sure you were told no a whole bunch of times, and you were faced with a whole lot of adversity. What is one tip or trick that you think is special that our audience could maybe implement in their daily life or in their business that you use to help you overcome that adversity and keep moving forward in the face of so many no's?
Patience, I would say that's the first thing. Having patience is way too important, right? And allowing the person who is saying no to finish their statement. Let them say no. Let them finish their thought on why they are saying it no. When I kept listening to the person who is saying no to me, or person who is finding flaws in the way the product is, or whatever that is, I was patient enough to listen through it instead of jumping right ahead and say that no, what you're thinking is wrong, or what you're saying is not what we are doing. But allowing them the thought, there are two paths that could happen. Eventually, by end of their thought, they would realize what was missing in their statement that could give us a plus point on our end, or they would have a compassion to listen to me after that, or to appreciate what I'm going to tell, or respect what I'm going to say. So for me, in this last 1.5 year journey with my team, or with investors, with friends, family, my own family, or whoever it is that I have been pitching around, I think being patient, allowing the person to finish their statement in whatever the thought is, and letting me speak after that helped me to bring them back into my route, or for me to even understand. Maybe I may not be 100% right too, right? So helping me to understand what they're trying to say, and allowing them to believe what I'm doing or what this product can do will accomplish. I think that's a key thing. Just be patient. Like, let them finish, even if it takes half an hour for them to speak, and if half an hour you have to sit through listening whatever you have done is absolutely wrong. That's okay. You'll get your time after that. Yeah.
That's fantastic, and I like the fact that you said, patience is the virtue here, but the way that you implement patience, and specifically on the no, doesn't necessarily mean no. A lot of people will say no out of just, my wife says no the first time I ask her anything, right? It's just her default answer is no, and that's very common amongst people. And I think in sales and raising money and all those things, we hear the word no and we give up immediately. We just take that no as an actual no, which, as we should in society for the most part. But in sales and in business and raising money, that no might be a maybe. And what you're saying, and I've probably failed here more times than I care to admit. I get the no, and I'm just off to the next thing, right? Because I look at sales like slot machines. It's keep pulling the lever, and don't waste my time on people that don't get it. But that's a really great insight on when you hear the no, shut up, listen, and they'll probably tell you how they will say yes.
Yes.
Right? And I've never quite heard patience after the no said the way that you said it, and I really like that. And it's probably something that I will personally take into consideration and start practicing myself on. When you get that no, just shut up and listen, which I do try to practice. I do like to talk, but I try to practice the shut up and listen tactic quite a bit, but I've not implemented after a no. So I definitely appreciate that little bit of advice, and that's something that I will take and move forward with. So I very much appreciate that. So fantastic. And then on to our very last question of the show. Is there one piece of technology that you like, that you use on a daily basis or a weekly basis, whenever, that you feel has significantly changed your life, either your personal life or your business life?
Piece of technology. I am actually a technical person, right? I write code in Python. I do all the stuff. But one thing that an application I would say that really changed me is the Morning Brew. Actually, the newsletter that comes in.
Right?
Um, it's a simplified version of what everyday thing is. It makes me, when I read it or when I focus my first morning on that newsletter, that helps me trigger my day, the rest of the day. I think apart from all the other technologies that's been using, this particular application or the newsletter that reels me help me out to be focused, like forget about everything for a few minutes, just see what's going on, learn what's going on in a very quick way, and then get start with your the rest of the day. I think I would go with that. Yeah.
Okay, so Morning Brew is an application. I think I'm familiar with Morning Brew, but I'm not. There's a whole bunch of different apps out there in the world, so I don't want to confuse it. It's an aggregate of the news that you want to read, and that shows up in your inbox each morning, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of say, hey, these are the articles that I want. I like positive news. I don't like reading negative news.
Yeah.
So I try to stay away from that stuff. So instead of going to Facebook in the morning and kind of trolling through that stuff, you've curated the information that you're going to see first thing in the morning. So
Yes.
the stuff that's important to you, you're letting in right out of the gate,
Yes.
which is important, right? So your morning ritual, folks, I can't tell you your morning ritual how important it is. If you're just waking up and you're going through that routine and you're doing it blindly every day and you're not conscious of what you're doing, then you're hurting yourself. You're not setting yourself up for a position for growth, for learning, for any of those things. So be mindful of those things, right? Like the silliest little stuff, like really appreciate when you're brushing your teeth and take the time to recognize what you're doing and why you're taking care of your body. And those little things that you do just out of habit, when you start to recognize them and appreciate those little daily things, help you so much in thriving and throughout your day and making sure that you have a positive attitude. And really, so just focusing on letting the stuff in that's important to you early in the day will help you just crush that whole day. So I like that. And then what you've done is you've curated the information that you're going to get right out of the gate. You don't go to the social media formats and just be bombarded with whatever the advertiser wants you to see that day. Right?
Exactly.
Let's be honest, right? It's whatever whoever's got the most money that day is going to influence your mood.
I
So
know. Yeah, I avoid social media. I'm not a big social media person, so
okay.
I like this. This routine actually helped me out. After that, simple yoga.
Right.
Morning, that freshness was important.
And I know that I talk mostly about business, but I am a super geek and you're a programmer. What's your favorite text editor that you use for programming?
Good question. For Python, we use the Anaconda. I think that's I would go with
Anaconda?
that.
Okay.
Anaconda.
Yeah. I really like Sublime Text. I for my text editor. It's my desktop text editor. So, but I'm an old school VI kid. So I'm an old Linux nerd from way back. But fantastic. Well, I appreciate having you on the show today. I loved your insights. Congratulations on your seed money and crushing it. I really is there a live product now? Are we in beta or?
Yes, the product is out. Candidates can go create their profile, have their personalized website link, and hiring teams can use our beta product through. They can see the entire cycle of the hiring process. Yes, product is live.
Is that just cleversow.com or how would they find it? How would they get signed on?
For candidates, they go to cleversow.com and there is a sign up link. They'll just go through the simple process, and end product is the snapshot, like I said. So johnbeal.cleversow.com, that's our sample profile snapshot. They can see how the profile snapshot is going to be there. And for the businesses, even the onboarding process is very simple. They go to business.cleversow.com. They sign in, they create a simple account, and they can start posting the jobs and see the candidates.
And we're live right now, so you can do this.
Yes.
And are you live production or live beta?
We are live in production, but it's a beta product. Yeah, we are looking.
So you're still a beta product. Fantastic. Yes. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish you the best of luck with your project. We're definitely going to check it out here to see. I mean, we're always hiring, so having new ways to vet candidates, I think, is a phenomenal a tool that we could use in our business. I'm sure every business can use it. So that's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to reach me directly and join my text line community, my number is 314-370-2871. That's 314-370-2871. That's it for today's episode, folks. Get to work.